What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical average American here today to react and learn about the 10 greatest British comedy sketches of all time. I'm very excited for this topic for two reasons. One reason I'm excited is because I feel like I'm in a very unique position as an American. I have never seen any British sketch comedy, so it's all brand new to me. But also I'm excited because of the reputation that British comedy has, particularly in America. Like, British comedy, it has its own name. It's like its own genre. It transcends comedy somehow, and it's honestly like a style of comedy that Americans don't get to enjoy very often. You know, by definition, it's British comedy. It's very unique and very highly praised in America. So I'm excited to see a bunch of comedy sketches, British comedy sketches, I've never seen before, supposedly the greatest of all time. I'm not exactly sure how they ranked these, or I know that there is a rule to this list where there can only be one sketch per British comedy show and no duplicates, so that's kind of the setup for what we're gonna see here. And with that being said, let's take a look.
Number 10, Andy makes a big splash, Little Britain. Lou and Andy are probably Little Britain's best known characters.
Oh my god. Kind of makes me laugh just looking at them. Little Britain, I've heard the name before, Little Britain. So I know it's a very famous, like, legendary, funny British comedy show, but I've never seen it myself.
Appearing in every single episode of the award-winning series.
Okay.
And we all know the score.
Hello, Lisha.
Andy apparently needs a wheelchair, but usually leaves it to perform a series of surprising actions and activities whenever Lou's back is turned. In this scene at a swimming pool, Andy gets impeached.
I don't know these characters at all, but I love it. Like, even it's so hard to describe British comedy. It is funny in how, well, absurd it is, but that doesn't quite grasp it. Like, how, in this case, how, like, awkward and real and deadpan it is, I suppose, is a way to say it.
To take a dip while Lou speaks to a lifeguard for what's regularly voted as one of the best sketches of all time.
But he does have a slight fear.
Number 9.
And in that case, like, ironic, where he thinks his friend there is stuck in a wheelchair, but he's diving off the top diving board. Okay, I like it. Number 9.
Sir Digby Chicken Caesar, that Mitchell and Webb look. Introducing the drunken drifter Sir Digby Chicken Caesar, who stumbles through life under the delusion that he is in fact a master detective and gallant adventurer.
See, this is why so much of this comedy works so well. The premise of these jokes, of the situations and the characters, is so funny just on its own. Like, this guy thinks he is the greatest detective ever. Great setup for a funny sketch comedy.
Ginger, do you know who I am?
You're Sir Digby Chicken Caesar, sir.
Of course.
Alongside his sidekick, Ginger, Digby spends his time committing an endless series of petty crimes, including stealing from hospitals, stately homes, and even children's birthday parties, before fleeing to the ever-inspiring tune of Devil's Gallop.
Quick, Ginger, we haven't a moment to lose. Dun, 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 dun.
It's, you know what else it is? It's almost like in American comedy, it's afraid to be ridiculous, like unbelievably silly. Like, whereas British comedy, there is no bound. Like, it can be as ridiculous as you want.
These sketches are dark, wholly absurd, but still at times strangely poignant, and a definite high point for Mitchell and Webb.
Okay.
Get up. No, don't get up.
Wait, so they steal stuff? He's the greatest detective, but he steals stuff.
I won't hear of it.
And his name, I can't pass this up, his name is Digby Chicken Caesar, just to be clear.
Don't get up, or we'll be back.
Number 8, going for an English, goodness gracious me. This popular 90s sketch show was most renowned for poking fun at Asian and Middle Eastern stereotypes and for lampooning the behaviour of British people towards other cultures.
Okay. Very very introspective kind of comedy as well.
Every night we end up here, eh? Because that's what you do, eh? You go out, you get tanked up on lassies, and you go for an English.
In arguably its most famous sketch, the cast dines at an English restaurant in Bombay.
All right, mate.
The role reversal parody sees the unfortunate waiter endure jibes about his name and pale skin before the friends begin to order their food. As long as it's bland, it's definitely on the menu.
Stampy is particularly bland, sir.
I'll have that. And bring a fork and knife.
Number 7, The Silence of the Lambs.
Okay. They're not diving. They're not showing the entire sketch. Obviously, I think that'd be against like copyright law for them to just show the entire sketch. But just these little taste of the sketches is very funny. Number 7, Silence of the Lambs, which is a movie I know of.
Lambs, French and Saunders. Throughout their illustrious partnership, French and Saunders were well known for parodying popular films.
Oh, it's a parody. Okay, it's a parody.
In this sketch, trainee agent Jennifer Saunders interviews imprisoned light entertainment legend Dr. Dawn French for a perfectly pitched serial killer spoof.
I never did keep my trophies. No, you ate yours. The nice Chianti.
French channels Hannibal to thoroughly intimidate Saunders, who, in case you hadn't caught,
I'm sure this is also a bit funnier. Like, the only thing I can even compare all this stuff to is Saturday Night Live in the United States, where you also get a big kick out of the sketch comedy because you are a fan of the actors as well. And in all of these instances, I don't have any emotional connection to any of the actors here. So I think a little bit of it is lost on me for that reason too.
on, plays the Jodie Foster role. And while French is more willing to help than Lecter was in the original, she issues some seriously specific demands.
I want a view, Jennifer. I want to see trees and some grass, yes. I want a dressing room that overlooks the Blue Peter Garden.
Number 6, Ken and Kenneth, The Fast Show. Ken and Kenneth, better known as the Suit You tailors, are ever present in The Fast Show, embarrassing customers with sexual innuendos and unendingly inappropriate comments. But the series finale featured their most famous client, with American actor Johnny Depp dropping by.
Oh, okay. This is... I never knew about this. Johnny Depp appeared on this British sketch comedy show.
Here long, sir.
Couple of days.
Banged anyone yet, sir?
And Ron Weasley's dad. Whoever the actor who played Ron Weasley's dad, I recognize.
Depp's a fan of the show and even called this cameo performance one of his proudest achievements. He spends most of the sketch trying not to laugh, but holds it together long enough to stage an unexpected finish.
Do you like being measured up, sir?
Number 5, the understanding barman, a bit of Fry and Laurie. Having met each other...
A bit of Fry and Laurie, okay. This is like maybe the one British sketch comedy show I know the name of. I'm a big Hugh Laurie fan. I enjoy House, where of course he plays an American. But yeah, if you're a fan of Hugh Laurie, even as an American, you eventually learned that he actually started in British sketch comedy, which I've never seen, so I'm actually excited for that here.
At Cambridge University, Fry and Laurie often built their best sketches around subtle or not so subtle wordplay, and never more so than here.
Alright, so other men have got larger plums?
With light innuendo driving conversation, Fry's bartender offers a sympathetic ear to his customers' marriage woes. Thanks to Fry's excellent timing, his interruptions get more risque by the moment and more elaborate. Though Laurie's character...
I like this. This is like, to me, this kind of comedy is like classic British comedy.
There seems none the wiser.
I don't know why I'm bothered with women. I'll be better off being a fruit.
The right being...
This is my favorite one so far. This is what I think of when I think of hilarious British sketch comedy, I guess.
...has clearly gone to his head.
You just keep him coming. Righto. Your funeral.
Number 4, the Royal Family Council Flat, Spitting Image.
You know, I have seen like pictures of stuff like this on the internet. Some of these British shows, some of these British comedies really use the puppets, which is honestly not a thing that ever caught on in the United States. So honestly, the puppet comedy stuff kind of freaks me out a little bit. Like, it's hard for me to even pay attention to the comedy because the puppets are so distracting because we don't do anything like this.
This topical puppet show often had top politicians in its satirical sight, or, as in this case, it ripped into the royal family.
Recession, recession, recession. It's the only bloody thing in the paper these days.
In this
Yeah, like, I can see, I mean, obviously this must be popular, right? I can see where it could be funny if you just, like, relax for a bit and, like, ingest the funniness of the over-exaggerated puppets and the crazy language, but I am just so distracted by these crazy, sort of scary-looking puppets, to be honest.
Sketch from 1991, the Queen contemplates the impossible possibility of the royals falling into poverty. The famous dream sequence sees the family move into a crummy council flat, with Philip seeming especially unimpressed.
You mean this is it? 4 bloody mangy rooms between the lot of us?
Me too, Peter.
Reportedly, the Queen was not...
I will say that it follows in the kind of the vein of a classic British comedy in that it is leaning into, like, the absurd. A completely absurd depiction of reality.
a fan of the show, taking particular issue with its suggestive portrayal of Prince Andrew. We doubt this will have softened their mood.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone. Old Navy habit.
Number 3, the breakfast sketch, The Morecambe and Wise Show. Morecambe and Wise are easily one of Britain's best loved double acts, and this has to be one of their finest moments.
Oh, I have not ever heard of them. Morecambe and Wise Show. Okay.
For this 1976 sketch, the duo are in the kitchen when The Stripper by David Rose starts up on the radio. With impeccable timing, Eric and Ernie move about the room making breakfast to the tune of the music.
Okay.
And as the soundtrack builds to a climax, the well-choreographed chaos reaches an expert crescendo too. They really don't make him like this anymore.
Yeah, this is like classic comedy. Like, this is so old school that it's not... I feel like comedy, like, definitely in the United States and Britain, has, as time has gone on, has gotten more, like, shocking and absurd and pushing the boundary of, like, what's okay to joke about. And this is, like, so wholesome comedy, like, just physical, like, dancing around funny, that it is nice to see, but not, like, hilariously funny, like, honestly, in this day and age. But it's honestly not bad.
Number 2, The Dead Parrot, Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Okay, Monty Python is probably the only, like, British comedy name that most Americans are familiar with. Again, I definitely have heard the name Monty Python many, many times. Never really seen it, though. And I feel like that's a lot of Americans have heard of it, but never seen it.
Sketch inspired by a routine from How to Irritate People, in which Michael Palin plays a car salesman who refuses to accept that a blatantly broken car is faulty. The Dead Parrot sketch is a go-to moment for alternative comedy fans.
Oh yes, the Norwegian Blue. What's wrong with it?
Alternative comedy fans. I'm not sure. What does that mean exactly?
Tell you what's wrong with it. It's dead. That's what's wrong with it.
First airing in the first series of Flying Circus, it has been chopped, changed, altered, and spoofed over the years,
Okay.
with John Cleese always convincing as the thoroughly ticked-off Mr. Praline.
Hello, Polly!
As for the Norwegian Blue, may that bird rest in peace.
This is an ex-parrot.
Number 1.
I can see where that could become iconic and probably spoofed and referenced a lot. Okay, number 1. Man, Monty Python it was number 2, not number 1, even though it's the most well-known British comedy in America. But number 1 is 4 Candles, The Two Ronnies. I've never heard of that.
1, 4 Candles, The Two Ronnies. Our winner is a world-famous sketch from a well-renowned comedy duo.
Okay.
Colbert plays the shopkeeper to Barker's comic customer, whose simple shopping list sparks all kinds of confusion.
Candles.
4 candles.
And Corbett's character isn't best pleased with all the running around, while Barker stands by looking increasingly bemused.
No O's. O's!
Still, a script of the sketch was famously unearthed on the Antiques Roadshow in 2006 before selling for £48,500.
This is... I get it. I get it. This seems like such a classic comedy sketch.
Proving that 4 Candles really is comedy gold.
You're having me on, aren't you?
It's also how well they do selling the authenticity in the sketch, of like really selling that they they're really suspending our belief that they are like having this much confusion going on.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo.
Very good, very good. This was by Watch Mojo UK, and I liked it. That was a great sort of way for me to dip my little toe into the world of British sketch comedy, probably like kind of plunge into the world of British sketch comedy, since these, I think, must be some of the most well-known, well-loved, and respected comedy sketches in British history. It'd be fun to maybe take time to watch the whole sketches and really appreciate them, but I think as far as getting in a top 10 list of all these things, this was a great way to kind of give me a taste of the comedy of each one and explain a little bit of the background. So for that reason, I actually really, really enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, perhaps with your opinion on what the greatest British sketch comedies of all time are. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to British culture and stuff in Britain, about Britain, I've never learned or seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.